How many times have you found yourself where you have the best intention to maybe stay on top of your habits, whether it's, keep the habits up to keep your body in check, stay in line with your nutrition, keep your energy through the roof by keeping on par with your sleep, making sure you're not flying by the seat of your pants, and so you have your schedule, kind of dialed in. Everything's just dialed in. And then even when everything is dialed in, you have outside sources, could be people, could be events, could be distractions, start pulling you all these different directions, right? And then all these things that you had the intentions to do, what ends up happening? It's like you go off for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, something happens. Let's sideswipe this for a little bit. Let's start tomorrow. Let's start Monday. It always happens, right? I get it. But here's what I found. Hey, so I don't know if you've ever caught the show The Bear. It's over on FX. In a nutshell, it's about a world-class chef who basically comes home to his family's restaurant, the struggling restaurant, to turn it all around. Needless to say, it's very, very captivating, lots of drama, everything in between. Anyway, this isn't a pitch for the show, but it's something that I picked up from the show in one of the seasons that Carmy, who is the main chef, his name's Carmen, he realized that in order to get his restaurant from like subpar to the absolute best, right, from amateur to pro status, he can't operate the way that things have been. Right, in terms of everything that he worked in before was everything like world-class restaurants and everything. And so now for him to take his family's restaurant to that status, he's got to do things differently. And so in one of the beginning seasons, he realizes this, and it kind of hits him between the eyes. And he says, like, he remembers all of his training from all the places that, and the standards and everything they set at these other places. And you can almost see it in him. He's like something flipped the switch, like this is what has to happen. And so he started just full focus mode, like full list of everything. And he wrote out the top of the list, non-negotiables. And then he just went on, just boom, 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 started listening. And just was very almost methodical about all the non-negotiables. Then he brought it back to his team and he said, this is how we're going to operate from now on. And they all looked at him crazy, like, they started, kind of almost like, kind of giving him pushback, like, oh man, like, why do we, come on, no, like, what was gonna, and he's like, no, this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna make this happen. These are the standards, these are the non-negotiables, this is what needs to happen in order for us to be the best, right? To be that high-class status. We're not gonna be like the rest, we're going to be at a different level, and this is what has to happen. So why do I share this with you? Well, aside, if you haven't caught the show, if you get bored, check it out. But it's not about that. What I've learned is how many times have you found yourself where you have the best intention to maybe stay on top of your habits, whether it's, keep the habits up to keep your body in check, stay in line with your nutrition, keep your energy through the roof by keeping on par with your sleep, making sure you're not flying by the seat of your pants, and so you have your schedule, kind of dialed in. Everything's just dialed in. And then even when everything is dialed in, you have outside sources, could be people, could be events, could be distractions, start pulling you all these different directions, right? Trying to pull you in all these different directions. And then all these things that you had the intentions to do, what ends up happening? It's like you go off for a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, something happens. Let's sideswipe this for a little bit. Let's start tomorrow. Let's start Monday. It always happens, right? I get it. But here's what I found. If you want that, to avoid that happening less often, then what I'm going to encourage you to do exactly what Carmen did in the show, in The Bear, which is write a list of non-negotiables. Write a list of non-negotiables. If it is not only keeping your body and your performance in check, right, and staying that way, okay, so what does that look like? It looks like a non-negotiable that, hey, I'm going to get up every single morning for at least 4 days a week, and I'm going to get in at least 20 to 24 minutes of movement, something like that, right? Or it looks like, hey, I'm going to, every single week before Monday hits, I'm going to make sure that I know my schedule for the week ahead. I'm going to make sure to plan when I've got to have, when I'm going to be doing certain things, not only just, for professionally, but also personally, when I'm going to get my workouts in. Planning ahead in terms of, meals. Does that mean delegating, getting meals, pre-made meals brought in? Or does that mean meal prepping? Or does that mean like having on-the-go things in the briefcase on the go? That's a non-negotiable, so that you can stay on point and say, hey, non-negotiable, I'm going to stay 90% on point with nutrition all throughout the week with a little bit of 10% pure junkie greatness in there, right? Or is a non-negotiable is I'm going to go to bed every single night, maybe not every single night, right? But let's, give yourself a little bit of leeway room. Let's say like maybe, hey, 5 nights a week, I'm going to go to bed at, say, 10 p.m., Like I'm gonna fall asleep by 10 p.m., non-negotiable, so that I can get up, be well rested, be ready to take charge and kick ass and take names for what the day has ahead, right? Instead of feeling groggy and out of sorts. So where right now do you find yourself? Maybe you have some non-negotiables in place. Cool. Awesome. Keep doing those. But where right now are you they're waning, right? You're almost letting them being pulled by distractions and everything. And here's the thing, the main important thing is the people in your household or anything like that. Communicate your non-negotiables. You don't be like, this is what I do. You don't need to do that, but you need to share like, hey, this is something that is really important to me. And here's why. I want to have the energy to be able to, be a great dad or come home from a long day of work and not collapse in the couch or just, I want to be able to go nonstop on the weekends. Right? Instead of just veg out and just be like, try to rest as much as I can to plow the week ahead. That's missing out on memories, right? Do you see where that is much better than just, I got to go get my workout in? No, it's like there's a reason behind it. Communicate that so that the people in your world understand what you're doing and that they'll be more in alignment with that as well. So give it a shot and curious, what are your non-negotiables? Drop them, and if not, that's cool, but just go apply them later.